Welcome to Smokies Stadium, where the Chicago Cubs stars of tomorrow are born. This stadium's past heroes are baseball's present champions. In this house, when your name is called, you step up.
Schwarber with an RBI hit. He looks up, so long. Chris Bryant, just like Javier Baez a year ago. A home run in his first Double-A at bat. Swing, fly ball, deep left field. This one's got a chance if it's fair. Way back there, so long. Ball game over. Smokies win. What do you say?
This house is witness to historic performances.
Jokic no hits the Suns tonight.
In the outfield.
Oh my, what a grab.
And on the base pass. In this stadium, we play until the final out.
Swing, there's a line drive, base hit, and the Smokies score 8 times, and they stun the Braves. They were down 7-0 going into the bottom of the ninth.
This is America's friendliest ballpark. For the next 30 minutes, we're giving you the best seat in the house. Bear Trax starts right now as we bring you inside Tennessee Smokies baseball. Hollywood visited Smokies Stadium a few weeks back. We had Chris Brochu at the ballpark. He's best known for his role in Vampire Diaries. Also, a local guy was in attendance. Jake Thomas, the Farragut High School graduate, known for his role in Lizzie McGuire when he played Matt McGuire. He was at the park, as was Jonathan Lipnicki, a big-time childhood star back in the day, and all three had a great time at the ballpark. Lipnicki is best known for roles in Jerry Maguire, Stuart Little, and Like Mike. And Jonathan enjoyed his time at Smokies Stadium.
It's really cool to be here, Cubs affiliate, because I actually sang the 7th inning stretch for the Cubs like 2001, so it's cool to be with the Cubs affiliate.
For Jake Thomas, it was a trip to his second home. He remembers going to the old Bill Meyer Stadium back in the day as a kid and always thinks of Knoxville as his home.
One thing that kind of stands apart is just people and getting to actually have like real open interactions with people that are just really outgoing and friendly, whereas in LA, everyone's busy. Everyone's kind of wrapped up in their own kind of little world, which it's really easy to feel isolated at times. And I don't know, it feels like friendlier, more like family out here.
Also in attendance were former Tennessee Volunteer football stars Justin Coleman and Eric Ainge. Talk about an all-star cast that threw out the first pitches at the ballpark. But as of recent, maybe the most famous of them all that made a trip to the ballpark was Steve Winfrey. Winfrey and his wife, Heather, have gone viral after she announced a kidney donation to her husband through a custom-made Topps baseball card. Winfrey used to work at Smokies Stadium years back, so we had to bring him back to the ballpark for a ceremonial first pitch. Hey, and congratulations to former Tennessee Smokies star and Chicago Cub, Tony Campana. He found out through an awesome gender reveal party that he will soon be the father to a baby boy. How awesome is that? Jacob Cruz is the Smokies hitting coach, and this week he's our teacher in our free Play Like a Pro lesson. That's coming up next. Mick and Jacob Cruz on Bear Trax.
I'm Jeff McElroy of Forever Families. My wife Debbie and I travel around the country speaking on marriage, family, and the importance of fatherhood. As a father myself, I get the pressure of providing for your family while also making time to be present in it, of leading your kids through the pitfalls of this culture while struggling with the culture yourself. The Tennessee Smokies also get it and want to help. So on September 10th, we're joining forces to call all men to the Faith of Our Fathers event, a night of prayer, worship, and crying out to God for the healing of our land by helping us be the men we're called to be. Michael O'Brien, former lead singer of New Song, will lead us in worship. Halloran Hilton Hill will speak on the impact of the daddy deficit. I'll talk about what we need to do as husbands and as fathers, and we have special guests you won't want to miss. Go to the Tennessee Smokies or online to faithofourfathersevent.com for tickets or more information. It's been a while since we've done anything like this, and it's time. So get your men's group, your employees, and your band of brothers for a night that will impact this area for generations.
All right, Smokies fans, we're going to rally Smokies to victory. Let me hear the loudest woo you got. Woo! All right, Smokies fans, y'all sound good. All right, let's take it from the top now.
Hello, Commish. What, we need a rally? I need to teach people how to rally? I'm on my way, Commish. It's time to rally.
First things first, you gotta look pretty. My pores are opening up. Next to prepare for a rally, you gotta get your pregame diet. I like some sunflower seeds. Oh God. Next thing you gotta do, warm up your voice. Next thing you gotta do is you gotta rehearse like you're in front of a full stadium. Let's go.
All right, Bucky fans.
After rehearsal, I like to take a nice steamy bath. After a nice refreshing shower, I'm all ready to rally. Well, now you know how to rally, folks. I'm gonna take my pregame dump. See you later.
I'm Mick Gillespie, and it's time for another Play Like a Pro segment. And today we're joined by longtime major leaguer and Smokies hitting coach Jacob Cruz. There's so many different topics right now in the world of baseball that surround hitting. And you and I were talking before we started this segment about swing path.
Right. You know, everybody's talking about swing path, a launch angle. What does it mean? It's a popular topic out in social media right now. And it's really the direct result of two things. Where I catch the ball in relationship to the plate, and also the direction or the path of my bat when I make contact. So ultimately, I want to catch the ball out in front. That's the up part of my swing. That's where I'm going to drive balls into the gap. That's where I'm going to hit home runs. And like I said, the direction of my barrel. I want to have my barrel chase the ball when I make contact. That's where I'm going to create some backspin and drive the ball.
You got the Line Drive Pro with you. That's a device that you created to help these guys and really anyone that's in baseball learn how to hit. Show us how we can kind of translate this into launch angle and swing path.
Well, it's a device that it teaches a bat path, how to stay through the ball. If I'm able to launch a ball right back up the middle, I'm going to keep my barrel on plane and through the middle. I'm going to catch the ball out in front. Ultimately, this is what creates launch angle. The Line Drive Pro Trainer helps players develop proper bat path and ultimately proper launch angles.
When you would work with someone and say, hey, here's this device, and you know, we talked about this before, it's a tremendous hitting tool. With just launch angle in mind, how would you instruct them to use it?
Well, first of all, I want them to be able to fire a ball right back up the middle. Once they're able to accomplish that, I'm having them fire a ball with a little bit of degree upward trajectory. Pitcher at the big league level releases a ball at 6 feet 1 inches high. I'm trying to match that plane. So if I can launch a ball back up the middle with a little bit of upward trajectory, I'm staying on plane with that ball.
How did you come up with this idea, and how did you know that it would be something that would be able to help you?
Well, it's something that I thought about as late in my playing career. I thought about how I could teach proper bat path. And so it's 3 years in the making as far as being out on the market now, 3 years on the market when we're available at retail stores across the nation.
All right, thanks, Jacob. That does it for our Play Like a Pro segment. Don't go anywhere. Charlie's going to take over, and we'll be right back. Hey, I'm Mick Gillespie, and it's great to be joined by Adbert Alzolay, one of the Cubs' top pitching prospects. First off, welcome to Double-A baseball.
Thank
you. You come in, first game, you strike out 10 batters. It looked really easy.
I mean, I was really excited that day because night before my agent called me and my agent said, "Yeah, tomorrow is gonna be a good day for you. It's gonna be your first Double-A game, so be ready for that. You're gonna pitch against a good team, so be ready for that." So during the first inning, in serious, I was a little scared, I mean, a little excited too. So, but after that, the game just looked like a regular game for me.
Yeah. And it is. I mean, you're moving up and you're facing better hitters in this league, but you know, you've had a lot of success too along the way, and including this year in Myrtle Beach. You were one of the top pitchers and helped the Pelicans get to the playoffs.
Oh yeah. we were working really hard there with the pitching coach and all the stuff. Uh, and just this year, I just put it everything together, you know. So I find a way. I found a way to get all those things together. So yeah, that's why I'm doing really well this year.
You've learned English not just in the United States, but when you were growing up in Venezuela, because you hope to have this opportunity to pitch professionally.
Oh yeah, when I was in high school, my brother's wife, she was living here. So I mean, she was my teacher there in Venezuela. So that's why I learned English before I got to the States.
You're from Venezuela. We talked about that before. Right now in your home country, there's a lot of turmoil with government protests and everything else. Some major leaguers have made it clear. Miguel Cabrera, I guess, kind of the biggest name that came from Venezuela right now in baseball, just how upset they are with the situation. Has that affected you at all?
I mean, uh, in some points, yes, that did because my family is still down there. So sometimes you got that, you know, you got that in your mind. You're thinking, oh, my family is down there. So I mean, they are living far away from the problems right now, but you never know what's gonna happen, you know. So yeah, sometimes it's really hard for me. Some of my teammates they have their family there too, so I'm in the middle of the problems, you know. So sometimes I hear my friends talking about that, and that's really upset right now. The situation in my country.
So would your goal be to get a big contract with a major league team like the Cubs and then move your family to the United States?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you know when you're playing here in minors, I mean you spend a lot of time away from your family. So if I make this to the big league, get good contract, oh yeah, I wanna move my family.
Welcome back into Bear Trax. I'm Mick Gillespie, and it's great to be joined by Sam Hughes. He's the Cubs national cross-checker. So as you saw the draft come through a couple of weeks ago and then all the players get signed, Sam's a big part of that. Great to have you with us today.
It's good to be here.
Tell us about the draft. I mean, just not really specific on different players, but how the Cubs and you in particular put the list together of guys that you might take.
Yeah, the draft is a year-long process. This year's draft starts the day after last year's draft ended. We start going to showcases, perfect game showcases. I'll leave here and go to Cape Cod and spend 2 weeks and start working on the best college kids for next year, getting follow reports in. They'll have a big fall tournament in Jupiter, which kind of concludes our fall. Then we'll have big meetings to kind of see where we are leading into the spring. And then throughout the spring, it's a different airplane, a different city for me every day, going to high school, college games. And then about 2 weeks before the draft, we'll bring in our area scouts, go over their list from top to bottom, talk about every player they've seen throughout the country. And then over the last week, myself and the other cross-checkers will get into Chicago and spend a week with Theo and everybody and breaking it down before we select them.
The Cubs went through a run where things didn't go well before getting to the National League Championship Series 2 years ago, winning the World Series last year. But for a guy who works in the draft side, the amateur draft side, it made it, I guess, a little bit tougher for you, but at the same time, it was a little bit easier because you're further along in the draft. You're at the front of the draft. You got the pressure of having to get it right, but at the same time, you get better players to select. And every single one of these guys have gotten to the big leagues. You look down the list, and it's Ian Happ's in the major leagues now. He played for the Smokies. Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber. And when you go through that list, the pressure of that falls on the scouting department to get those picks right. One of those picks, Chris Bryant in particular, you had a big say on it, according to an article I read in, I think, the USA Today from Theo Epstein. And that turned out to be a monumental selection for the Cubs because he won the National League and the Rookie of the Year. Just kind of give us the background of what it was like as
an amateur scout watching Chris Bryant, and then the process, as much as you can share with us on taking him.
Sure. I mean, it's Chris Bryant and the other guys you mentioned. Those years we weren't very good, so we were picking up in the top 10 in the country, which, like you said, the pool of players we're looking at are the best players in the country. There is still pressure to get them right because there's a lot of misses up in the top 10 year in and year out. But like I said, with that, you have a smaller group of players that you're working from, so you're able to get back and see a Chris Bryant 3 or 4 times throughout the spring. This year, where we were picking 27 and 30, I saw Alex Lang one time. I saw Brendan Little twice, kind of by mistake the second time I was in town doing something else. Mm-hmm. So picking up high, you get to be more thorough on the Kyle Schwarbers and Chris Bryants that you go see in numerous amounts of time, because those guys are specifically going to be in your mix. When you're picking a little later in the draft, it's more like hoping and praying to see who's going to get to you.
Thanks again for joining us.
It was a pleasure to be here. It's always great to be in Kodak.
Sam Hughes, I'm Mick Gillespie. Now back to Charlie.
That's it on this week's episode of Bear Trax, and we are down to our final episode. Make sure you set your DVRs for next Sunday, 11 o'clock on Fox 43. It's our best of show where Mick Gillespie and I will relive all the great moments that have happened in season number 2 of Bear Trax. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great night.